Welcome back to the War Room, episode 256, Monday, June the 29th, the year of our Lord 2020. Steve Cortes, Kingsley Cortes. Relation there?
Yes, my firstborn.
There you go. Jack Maxey and Raheem Kassam here in the War Room, Monday, June 29th.
By the way, quick point about Kingsley, middle name Reagan.
There you go.
Boom.
Boom. Mine's. I'm gonna have to call my son/daughter Trump. I'm gonna call Trump Kassam, first name and middle name. Or should it be Trump Farage? Trump Farage Kassam. All right, we got a lot to cover in this hour. Stephen K. Bannon will be back with us in the middle of the show here at the bottom of the hour. And we have some special guests for you in that segment as well. So hold on tight. In this segment, I want to go to what we wrapped up with in the last hour. And that is this Taliban story. We've got a lot to cover as well with Cardinal Dolan, black manufacturing jobs in the US. So we've got to keep it compact and tight here. But Jack Maxey, in the break, we had talked about at the end of this last hour, this Washington Post story about how supposedly there were these bounties from Russia to Taliban insurgents or Taliban-linked insurgents to target U.S. troops. And here's the thing. We've been in the news media business, in the Oppo research side of things, in all of that in this room for a very long time. And I can tell you this. Every so often, you overstep the mark. You just go that little bit too far to the point of lacking credibility. And this Washington Post story, the second it hit, i.e. the second I saw the notification on my phone and clicked through and it said, please resubscribe to the Washington Post, and then I closed it, I thought to myself, wow, they have gone a step too far on this. And you can tell it from the opening paragraph where it says several sources with information close to this. And then immediately afterwards, you actually have the intelligence community within the United States, which, by the way, is not the friendliest to President Trump.
Well, to say the least.
To say the least.
Right.
Coming back and pouring scorn on this. And not just pouring scorn on it because there's been an official statement from the White House or an official statement from DOD or whatever it is, but actually going to their media partners and saying, you might want to ease off on that story a little bit. Let's play the clip from MSNBC this morning as I was putting my socks on, and I couldn't believe that. Look, when you're the Washington Post and you lose MSNBC,
right,
you lose the story. And it does look like, in fact, they have lost the story. And we'll get into that in just a second. Let's roll this clip from MSNBC this morning and hear exactly what they had to say about it.
The Post is saying there was a high-level NSC meeting about this in March to decide what, if anything, to do about it. But I can tell you, Stephanie, we at NBC News are getting some pushback from some very credible, disinterested sources that this may not be as big a deal as some are making it out to be, that it may not have ever gone anywhere, and that, in fact, there may have been a decision to factor it into the Afghan peace talks and discount it.
Credible and disinterested sources. That is effectively MSNBC calling total BS on the Washington Post story. Now, they'd never say it in those terms,
sure,
right? If it was a report by Kingsley Cortes in the National Pulse, they would come out and say, this is fake news. But saying credible, disinterested sources against Washington Post reporting is them, Steve Cortes, is it not, saying BS?
No, it's as close as they're going to come to actually just telling us, the unvarnished truth. I think you asked previously about, who benefits from the substance of the story, and the answer is really nobody would, so it doesn't make sense. But let's also talk about the story itself. Who benefits from the story? There are people in this city, unfortunately, who want us in Afghanistan for another 20 years, right? There are people in the intelligence community, in the defense contracting world who want that. President Trump ran an America First foreign policy of realism and restraint. Drawing down in Afghanistan makes sense for our country. He has been intent on doing it all along. Stories like this try to derail him, but it will not work. We have been in Afghanistan too long already. We have wasted too many lives, too much treasure. It's time to end it. There are some powerful people that want to derail that.
And Jack, the weirdest thing about a lot of this is that it seems to be asserting that this is something new, that would be something new, proxy fighting in the Middle East. Is this the first time there's been proxy fighting in the Middle East?
No, not at all. But I want to say it seems to me that the Democrats are almost like a one-trick burro, because think about it. they're back to Russia, right? The whole world knows that our existential threat is China. We've just seen 130,000 Americans killed by a virus released by the Chinese Communist Party without giving the world a heads up. And we watched the Democrat Party go back and try to raise up some fear about Russia. Get over it, guys. Also, after that interview, Kayleigh McEnany from the White House spokesperson said that, hey, we're going to give a briefing to the senators later on today. They'll understand. Somebody from the National Security Council said, yes, we had heard about this from Special Forces operators inside Afghanistan, but we could not confirm any of this, and so we did not pass it up the chain because it was something that we thought was more of a rumor rather than a fact. But apparently all of the, at least some of the members of the House and Senate are going to get briefed on this. One thing I would like to say, which I find a little bit strange, on our side of the football, the first guy to come out and be like, we need answers, Lindsey Graham. Thank you, Lindsey.
Wait, who?
Lindsey Graham.
Yeah.
That wasn't what you called him last week.
Well, I'm trying to
By the way,
control
but
my,
to that point,
my Tourette's.
To that point, I think one of the underappreciated and unfortunately unheralded successes of the Trump administration has been our policy of realism and restraint abroad. The fact that we are not provoking conflicts, we are not nation building. It's in stark contrast to both of his predecessors, to Bush and Obama. So yes, many Republicans, unfortunately, many establishment Republicans in this city want us to be in Afghanistan for another 20 years. This president has a very different vision. He promised it in the election, and he's delivering it now.
And, you know, Steve, it makes a great point considering the president's America First policy, right? This is an illustration of the American First policy because prior administrations put other nations before us. Mm-hmm. We're in Afghanistan spending trillions of dollars while we're watching bridges, roads, tunnels collapse here in the United States. No infrastructure spending. We're shipping jobs to China while we spend $8 trillion in the sand.
Right.
Donald Trump recognizes that our tax dollars should go to benefit the American people and specifically our national interests, not the triangulated needs of one of Bolton's dreams in the Middle East.
Kingsley, jump in here. We're getting a lot of live comments right now. Well, is it bring your daughter to work day? No, it's bring your father to work day.
Right.
We actually booked Kingsley. We just got Steve as corollary to that. But a lot of people saying they love your reporting on the National Pulse. Give us your 30-second view on all of this.
Well, I think Jack is exactly right. Russia is really not the main threat that we're facing here. It's definitely China. And I think, Biden has a history of coddling the CCP, of making trade deals that really ravage American workers with the Chinese Communist Party. So I think they're again trying to frame the conversation in terms of Russia when we need to bring it back to China as conservatives because that's where Trump is strong and that's where Beijing Biden is very, very weak.
Well, you talk about Beijing Biden being very, very weak. I mean, walk us through a little bit of this here because not everyone can pay attention to the hyper detail on this stuff. But Steve, you mentioned in the last hour how long Biden's been in this town, was elected when you first was
when
elected.
I was in diapers.
When you
1972,
when you were first
when
born.
I was born.
but over that course of time, I mean, it's the shipping of the jobs abroad. It's everything that we're seeing right now in terms of Black Lives Matter and the civil rights discussions. Is he had control to fix all of these things and didn't take the opportunity to do so. In fact, there may be evidence out there that Joe Biden actually appeared on stage with people in blackface at once upon a time. We've been looking into some of the detail that's been coming out on that. So give us the background on all of this because you actually have seriously summarized really well, better than anyone else out there, who has suffered most in the United States as a result of Joe Biden's policies.
Well, I think what a lot of people don't realize is that Black Americans in particular and all minority Americans have really been disproportionately disadvantaged by the offshoring of manufacturing jobs to China. Historically, manufacturing jobs for all Americans, but for minority and low-income Americans in particular, have acted as sort of a stepping stone into the middle class. And they've provided reliable paychecks for these people. And according to the Alliance for American Manufacturing, they've also given African American Americans in particular an opportunity to earn much higher wages than in other parts of the economy. That's in automotive manufacturing plants in particular, whether that's in Detroit, whether that's in Philadelphia or Baltimore. So these former great industrial capitals throughout the United States that happen to have large groups that are minority groups normally, they've really been ravaged by Joe Biden's offshoring of jobs to China. And that's unfortunate, and it's really a shame that he's done that to all American workers, but to minority American workers in particular.
Steve, that does raise the question as to why Joe Biden has such notional support amongst black communities. Whether is the message reaching them about what his track record is in this area, and if it isn't yet or hasn't yet, how does that work in the next couple of months before an election?
Well, we've got our work cut off for us, and here's why. And I think this is the reason that he has so far escaped the culpability, that Kingsley talks about, that he deserves for literally exporting American jobs for everybody, but particularly for minorities. But the reason he's escaped it is his connection to Barack Obama. So when you are the vice president for the first black American president, who remains immensely popular among black Americans, of course, and in the country at large, you are affixed to him, and you get all of those benefits. So that's the challenge we have. But look, I'm all up for a challenge. The facts are on our side. Manufacturing jobs cratered after China was let into the WTO. One of the prime leaders of their inclusion was then Senator Joe Biden, and he has continued his record of both bad policy and personal corruption regarding Hunter Biden, regarding collusion with the CCP. You want to talk about a real collusion? It's collusion of the Biden family with the CCP to enrich themselves at the expense of American workers. So we'll continue to make the case to black Americans, but there's clearly it's a challenge. There's a real affinity there because of Barack Obama. We just have to be honest about that.
Not to sound like a conspiracy theorist or anything, but is this why you're seeing so much energy and effort poured into the Black Lives Matter movement, which, by the way, I'm just going to say this because I can, seems to be getting more and more white by the day.
Right.
No, seriously, you go and you look at some of these live streams, some of these periscopes. It started off, I remember the first Sunday I went down there to the White House to see what had happened the night before, and I think it was a diverse group, right? There was equal, you could say equal representation, right? It was clearly, the graffiti and all of that was clearly more Marxist than it was anything to do with equality or George Floyd, but the crowd you could see, right? Now you look at these things, and more often than not, it's like 70 to 80%, like, what is it? Chicken-chested white liberals, Jack.
Yes, indeed. Chicken-chested punks from the suburbs with their nose rings and their bad jobs as a barista living in their mother's basements.
My question is, would this have happened under a nomination for somebody else in the Democratic Party, or is it particularly because of Joe Biden's real weakness on policy over the last 5 decades that they're actually trying to throw a lot of the smoke on this issue?
I hadn't thought of that. That perhaps it's almost a diversionary tactic of let's not look at Biden's actual issue.
It's what I would do.
Sure. I think to this point too. Let's just be honest about the BLM organization. Here's what has happened. It has been it is a clearly laudable phrase, right? That of course Black Lives Matter, but it has been completely hijacked by Marxist revolutionaries. There's nothing else to call them. Marxist would-be cultural revolutionaries who run this organization, who have now, though, unfortunately, been empowered, speaking of powerful white people, been completely financed by corporate America because big business said, just pay them off. Okay, let's just pay them off so that we don't have problems in our organization. And that's the reality. And by the way, if their policies, if enacted, will make black lives demonstrably worse in our country.
Wait, 10 seconds, Jack, till the break. We'll come back with more Jack Maxey, Kingsley Cortes, Steve Cortes, Raheem Kassam. Don't go anywhere.
War Room Pandemic with Stephen K. Bannon.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
2020's been a gut punch to American business, and if you're going to succeed, you need every possible advantage. We're pleased to have NetSuite by Oracle as a sponsor of this show, the world's #1 cloud business system. Get your free guide right now at netsuite.com/Bannon. Welcome back to the War Room. Kingsley Cortes, Steve Cortes, Jack Maxey, Raheem Kassam, Stephen K. Bannon. and Co. will be back with us remotely in the next segment. Stay tuned for that. I just want to clean up from the last segment really quickly. As you can tell, we have so much news pouring out of every orifice right now. It's hard to squeeze it all in to one show, but we certainly try. And we're going to have more up on the website, pandemic.warroom.org. Make sure you're signed up. So you're getting Greg Manz's his newsletter, which he puts together with Carl Olbert. It brings you all the information that you need to know about the show notes, everything we discuss, every poll, every link, every article. It's imperative that you're across all of this and sharing all of this, not least because I can't share all of this right now on Twitter, still suspended. Or am I? Did I choose to lift the suspension last night manually myself? We'll get into that in a bit. I haven't tweeted yet. Maybe I just don't want to. Maybe I'm having too much fun over at Parler. Are you on Parler yet?
I am. I've only posted once.
Okay, you got to get on there.
Okay.
Isn't it much more fun than Twitter?
It is fun.
You don't get all of these. You don't get all these mindless. What are clearly Chinese Communist Party bots like flooding your thing. It just doesn't happen on Parler. That's why I like it a lot more there, because I get to read real people's comments, and there are haters and there are leftists and there are like BLM people.
So there's opposition.
There absolutely are, and there are BLM people and there are Antifa people and all of that, but they're people. They're actual people, right. And they have to show that they're actual people because they have to verify who they are. I just want to clarify something on what you said in the last segment as well, the woke capital thing, right? The woke capital thing is really important, really interesting to understand from a historical perspective, because I think we've now gone past them simply buying off the progressive and radical left. They're now marching in lockstep with them. They're actively pursuing policies and even proactively pursuing policies in order to not appease the radical left, but actually go further and even egg them on. And if you look at the dictionary definition of what fascism is, of what fascism really is, not the revised definition in the woke dictionary, but it's the tying up of corporate and state power. And when you think about the state power, just remember that President Trump hasn't totally drained the swamp, that there are still thousands, tens of thousands of employees across Washington, D.C., embedded in the departments all across the country who are actively working against this president, and who work hand in hand with the media and with woke capital, with the progressive left, to silence and shut down their opponents. They're tearing statues down. They're trying to erase history. They're denigrating culture. They hate the nation. They burn the flags. Everything about it screams to me the nouveau fascists, right? And we have to get our heads around that. Woke capital is not only a symptom of the problem anymore. They are an enemy of the people, much like the media is an enemy of the people. You look at the Calvin Klein advertisements on, big Times Square advertisements. They have this black trans mod. This is poison. This is poison and derangement that we're selling to our kids. I had to get that out. Jack Maxey.
Well, I think, we were talking in the break about BLM and its association with, we ascribe it to the left wing. I think that one thing has to be made clear. We sort of associate it with the Democratic Party, but I think they have to be very careful, because this is a movement that is Maoist in nature. The objective is to destroy everything. And I would caution our friends on the other side of the aisle by thinking that they can control this prairie fire, because they cannot. It is important for every American on both sides of the football to recognize that this is the enemy of our system. You can forget about the Democratic Party, the Republican Party, and all the statues. These people want to destroy culture. It's no different than any other Maoist revolution in history. Just study up on it and see that they are following the same exact playbook. So rational people should not assume a different outcome. I think that it was Einstein who described that as insanity, somebody who does the same thing over and over again, expecting a different outcome.
Steve Cortes, where do you want to take us now?
I want to talk about Cardinal Dolan and his, I think, incredibly important op-ed in the Wall Street Journal today. This is from Timothy Cardinal Dolan, who is, of course, the Archbishop of the Catholic Church in New York City. It is, even the Bible is full of flawed characters. The destruction of monuments only impoverishes our sense of history. Now, just as a way of personal introduction, before I talk about what Cardinal Dolan said here, and I think it's just such a timely and pertinent message for our country, I will tell you that as a Catholic, and Jack Maxey and I certainly are sympathetic with each other on this score, I have been frankly horrified with so much of the behavior and statements of the Catholic hierarchy in the United States, most particularly, by the way, right here in Washington, D.C., Archbishop Gregory, who completely assailed the President of the United States because he went to visit and pray at the John Paul II Center. So I think in many ways, unfortunately, the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops has been co-opted by the Democratic Party, whether wittingly or unwittingly in this country, and is serving the needs and prerogatives of leftists, much to the long-term detriment of American Catholics and of the Catholic Church. However, I think credit where it is due, and Cardinal Dolan is really standing up here and really being brave. Among the quotes that he talks about and he rails against this idea that we can erase history rather than learn from it, that these Marxists want to start out at year zero, that this is what Pol Pot did. He says, he talks about the necessity of approaching history honestly. He says, the same is true of the church I love and am honored to serve. There are scandalous parts of our history. Countless episodes when popes, priests, bishops, and others, including some who are now saints, didn't act as they should have. And by the way, that he talks about saints there. My guess is that toppling of St. Junipero Serra statue probably enlivened Cardinal Dolan to get bold here. The fact that the St. Louis statue in St. Louis, Missouri is very much under attack, hopefully also inspired Cardinal Dolan to take a stand. And here's what he also said to connect this again back to China. He said, God forbid we'd go through a cultural revolution as China did 5 decades ago. This is so important that we recognize this. Cardinal Dolan recognizes this. And look, Cardinal Dolan is far from an American nationalist conservative, right? Quite far from that. I think if anything, politically, as much as he tips his hand, he's a liberal globalist. But he is smart enough to recognize that what is going on here regarding these far leftist radicals, extremists who want to tear down statues, who want to erase history, that they are channeling Mao. So we've talked a lot during this show, and you do every day, thankfully, about the external threat that the CCP is to the United States. We also have to talk about the internal threat in the United States of a group of, it's a very much a minority group, but a very, very motivated people with, unfortunately, now a lot of financial backing from corporate America who want to enact, and they've started it in this country, we have to stop it, a cultural revolution, a Maoist cultural revolution within the United States. Cardinal Dolan, thank goodness, as the most senior churchman in our country, is standing up loudly and saying, stop, this is madness.
Well, the other thing I think is so interesting about Cardinal Dolan's article in the Wall Street Journal is, I didn't know this. Cardinal Dolan was educated as a historian before he became a priest. So he's talking about a subject that he has a lot of knowledge about, and he's trying to put it in both spiritual and historical perspective. And here's something that I am hopeful for. We've been reporting on this quite a bit on the show. The cooperation between Pope Francis and the CCP and this secret treaty that is going on with the Chinese Communist Party. If Cardinal Dolan is willing to describe what's going on in the streets here as a potential second cultural revolution, I would hope that this is a clarion call for all American Catholics to demand that the Vatican expose what is inside this secret treaty. We've had a century of bloodshed because of secret treaties, both in World War I and World War II, and there should be no reason that the Vatican, which is considered its own country, should be able to engage in secret treaties in the 21st century, particularly treaties that we believe undermine the Catholic Church and our faith inside communist China. So I hope people will take Dolan's words and take it one step further and ask, what is the church doing in cooperation with the Chinese Communist Party?
You know, Kingsley, I'd be curious your take, too, since you're still in school. You're the only one here young enough to still be in school. He specifically mentions that...
I'm immature enough to be in school.
That's right. But Cardinal Dolan also specifically mentions the danger of banned works, of banned books, for example. And he specifically mentions Huckleberry Finn, which unfortunately is on the chopping block or already eliminated in a lot of schools. He mentions Flannery O'Connor. What do you see as a student? Do you see that there is an effective book burning going on that Cardinal Dolan's warning us against?
100%. I think, on college campuses, in universities of higher learning, there are certain topics that we're no longer allowed to discuss, right? And I think that's a mistake, because true learning is engaging with what's sometimes uncomfortable to you or a dissenting view or opinion. That's what strengthens you as a thinker and as an intellectual. So I think it's a real shame that the left is trying to engaging in this cancel culture and trying to put a stop to certain things that have happened in our history that we should learn about, and we should learn about the good and the bad. And that's how we as people grow and, learn for ourselves what is acceptable and what is not. So I think that's an important lesson that we need to be teaching our children from a very young age, and Colonel Dolan is right to point that out.
In sterquilinus infinitor, in the filth you will find the truth. And that's why as well it's so hard to get great articles nowadays. I mean, there's this plethora of news content on the internet, and you're just bombarded with all this stuff in Teen Vogue all the way up to the Atlantic magazine and all of this stuff. And very recently I got hold, everybody obviously remembers Sir Roger Scruton, one of the finest British philosophers that ever was, and I just subscribed again to the Salisbury Review, which he founded decades ago, and received my copy for the first quarter this weekend. And it's so refreshing to read things that we know to be true, but really you can't find that in the mainstream anymore. And it's in supporting things like that we're actually going to get back to. Maybe we'll get back to it one day, maybe we won't. Maybe I'm black-pilled over here. We'll get back to War Room Pandemic at least after this break. Can I say black-pilled anymore?
War Room Pandemic with Stephen K. Bannon.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Welcome back to the War Room. Raheem Kassam, Kingsley Cortes, Steve Cortes, Jack Maxey. Here on America's Voice, John Fredericks Radio Network, and broadcast through the firewall in China via G News and GTV. 2020, as you know, has been a gut punch for American business, and if you're going to succeed, you need every possible advantage. That's why we're pleased to have NetSuite by Oracle as one of the sponsors of this show. Smart companies run on NetSuite. Your financials, your HR, your inventory, your e-commerce, everything you need, all in one place. Compete with anyone, anywhere. Run your whole company right from your phone. You can join over 20,000 companies who trust NetSuite to make it happen. They've surveyed hundreds of business leaders across the country and assembled a playbook of the top strategies they're using while America reopens for business. So get your free guide, 7 actions businesses need to take now, and schedule a free product tour at netsuite.com/Bannon. That's your free guide and your free product tour, netsuite.com/Bannon. Speaking of Bannon, he's back with us. Over to you, Steve.
Yeah, listen, you talk about turbulent times, Raheem. Is the most turbulent, besides the economic, the financial, the geopolitical, or the pandemic, is really now institutional and cultural. You guys just had an amazing discussion in the last segment that my guest here, Miles Guo, was able to we were able to listen to, that talking about the Catholic Church and what's going on. Saturday a week ago, we had one of our 2-hour specials, and it was about what the CCP, the information war that they're running against the United States of America, and we also did a whole hour on the information war they're doing against the world. We had Francesco Gallietto, one of the top geopolitical thinkers and writers in Italy, with a new book out called Red Contagion, how the CCP is using Italy and Rome as the Trojan horse to take over the West. Now, in that book, Gallietto, who has no beef with the Vatican, he normally goes after political corruption and incompetence, he said the number one institution they're using in Rome and in Italy is the Vatican. We followed with Miles Guo. Miles was our guest, and Miles said, hey, look, one of the problems here is you got this secret treaty, and the reason it's secret is that they've been paying the Vatican $2 billion in cash money for a long time. Today, Stephen Mosher, one of the most respected people who focus on China, wrote a piece in LifeSite News, which is one of the top Catholic news sites, particularly for conservative Catholics dealing with abortion. And his piece was about how he thinks Miles Guo's got it right, and it's something that's needed to be said for a long time. So, Miles, I want to thank you. I know it's very controversial, this whole controversy with the Vatican. I know you're not trying to attack religion. You've been actually somebody trying to support freedom of religion in China for all people, Buddhists, Falun Gong, Muslims, Catholics, Christians, etc. But Steve Moshe said, I think Miles Guo's right, that the CCP and the Vatican are in a secret deal. He also said that in this article, he specifically points out how Pope Francis has taken the party line of the CCP. He has a quote in here where Pope Francis says, the CCP helps support freedom of religion, and the CCP helps keep the churches full in China. I'd like you to respond to that.
Thank you, sir. Before day one I know you, I say I have principle. I don't want to touch American inside political. I don't want to talk about religion, a lot. So I only want anti-CCP with you. Now, because 2 days ago I joined the war room, just urgency. You asked me about the Vatican. That's the issue. I tell you the truth. So I get a lot of threatened, pressure.
You got a lot of threats after you had that interview with us that talked about the Vatican secret deal? A lot of threats?
Yes.
A lot of pressure?
Same 2017, CCP go to America, want to kill me, mafia, Cortes, many lawsuits, put me go to the court. Same thing, this is huge. This is 3 years, come back again because I talk the Vatican. So, sir, very important, it's the Vatican is the religion, the world, the head center, right? Even I talk the lie. Vatican don't believe me and think me as a lie. I like is the with Vatican go to American court. They can lawsuit me. I know last year I have few time in the American court. Some of the lawsuit by CCP, I all win. In the court, I first time see it have the word there, in God we trust. Okay, that's huge impact me. I like is the Vatican with me go to American court. We can find out the truth. We can show all the world what has happened. I believe, sir, are you so high? You think Vatican just supports CCP? No. You just no. I know the evidence. I know the truth. I know the story. And by inside intelligence, Vatican is cooperate with CCP.
Cooperates with CCP.
Cooperation. Also, they make a lot on the table the deal. It's betrayed inside China mainland underground church the people.
So this is what Cardinal Zen implies. You're saying that the Vatican has betrayed the underground Catholic Church by signing this deal with the Chinese Communist Party.
Yes, correct, sir. This one also, with 2015, 2014, they give the $2 billion cash. I know something more is the 2018. Vatican, somebody want more dollars. They said, could you give more? Because I can make a more big deal. That's why 2019, 2018, CCP very often, very aggressive. They want Xi Jinping, go to the visa to Vatican. And they want big deals and a big contract. But, some really good people stop this.
You mean big deal as full diplomatic relationships between the Vatican and CCP and recognize the CCP as legitimate government of China?
Yes, correct. That's why, sir, 2018, 2019, they want to try big deal. What is the big deal? The Vatican want more money. They want, full support, full cooperation for CCP. That's a disaster. We're lucky, you and a lot of West side, believer, face guy is to stop the deal. Even don't stop the deal, Vatican can get more money, but the CCP can kill more the people.
I just want to reiterate one thing is very important. You're challenging the Vatican. You're saying, hey.
I don't challenge her. You put me challenge.
No. I'm saying the fact that you're saying if they think you're lying, that they can sue you. The CCP's come after you in court. You've won all the cases. If they think you're lying, you have no problem with going to court and proving you're right.
I'm really honored. I like to go to the court. I think that the 1,000 years, Vatican there. I like Vatican. We can talk all the detail in the court. they can give the court all the information by CCP, who connected them, for how much money from the CCP. And when we got last days, the 10 years, how big money from the China and the third party. I like it all this. Show the world, show the 150 million Chinese Catholic Christian. How much money from CCP? How much inside underground church believer guy died by the CCP? And Vatican gave the CCP provide privacy information in China underground church the guy because they get killed, get arrested. That's very important, sir.
The Vatican gave that information.
This is for sure. What the deal can make? They just provide cells there, give the information, then the CCP arrest them, they just kill them.
Is Pope Francis true when he says the CCP helps support freedom of religion and helps keep the churches full?
CCP before there's a Syrian atheist, right? It's an atheist. Atheist. Why atheist party make the deal with the Vatican?
A church.
How big a deal? Only one. You suppose me atheist, them, right? And you follow me, right? That Vatican is a protector of the believer. You how can make you atheist? Communist party. This is betrayed. This is the sales. This is criminal. How much money? Not $2 billion. It's 2014. It's a negotiation. 2000 they get it $2 billion. Until now, I think it's more. That's why 2018, 2019, Vatican representative guys want the guy can give more. We can make a big deal. Even you don't stop. I think this big deal has happened. As more people die, and make CCP atheist is owned the China and own the West of the world. Then CCP say, I'm the God. I'm the religion. That's so dangerous, sir.
We only have a few minutes, I think, Raheem, but I want to get into this topic and we'll carry it over to the next section. Steve Cortes and the team talked about cultural revolution in America right now with Antifa and these radical groups. The key to the cultural revolution was called the Four Olds, right? The Red Guard was tasked by Mao to destroy the Four Olds, and that was old culture, old customs, old ideas, and old habits. And what they said was to rebel is good, but they had to destroy the Four Olds. Do you see that's what's happening? Is Steve Cortes and Raheem War Room right when we say it's a Maoist-type cultural revolution going on in America today?
You talk this, sir, still too high. You talk the words. Maybe some normal people don't know. Easily you can talk. They want China 5,000 years of history. They want to kill you, no loyalty. Kill you, no morals. Kill you, no family. Kill you, no God. Kill you, religion. This is for kill. Nothing is kill. So kill God, religion. Kill you, family, loyalty. Kill you, loyalty. Kill you, kind and morals. That's for kill. Then you follow one communist party. Chairman Mao is God. You kill the God, I'm the God. Kill loyalty, loyalty me. Kill family, I'm better family. Kill the morals and the kind, I'm gonna give you kind. Free life, I give you free success. Kill freedom, but follow me. That's totally man. It's the fundamental reason. It's a goal. That's for kill. This is broken old, for old. That's totally lie. Propaganda. That's for kill.
The four kills.
Yeah.
What?
No, in America, same thing.
In America today.
Free life, kill freedom. Then you kill the loyalty, kill Mars, rule of kill religion, kill American history. You can get a free life, but you need loyalty, Antifa. That's the same thing. This is the totally same. Before is the China Cultural Revolution, even worse. I know. I don't want to talk the nationality something. I think that's exactly they want to kill what? Kill rich people.
You think they eventually want to kill the rich?
Kill the Jews. Jews are too rich. Irish, too rich.
Irish.
And the Chinese, too rich. Kill. They kill rich. They call ruble rich, help the poor. This is a cultural revolution. Ruble the rich, help the poor. You look at the cultural revolution, it's kill at the 4-old. It's the rebel rich, how about the poor? They kill all the rich guy. And the teacher, teachers kill teacher, kill culture. Then kill the richer, you get more rich. The natural tiger kill rich.
Guys,
people,
gentlemen,
Jewish.
we have to jump to a break here.
Hang on. Take a break. We'll be right back.
Yeah.
Well, Jack, just before we go to break,
the government of India has banned 59 Chinese apps, including TikTok. The Indian deplorables are fighting back. America, it's time for you to follow them.
Back with more War Room Pandemic after this break.
I like that. MIGA, right?
War Room Pandemic with Stephen K. Bannon.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Welcome back to the War Room. It's Monday, June 29th, the year of our Lord 2020, episode 256. Joining us now down the line, Simone Gao, award-winning journalist, producer, and the host of Zooming In on NTD TV. Simone, thank you so much for joining us here on the War. I want to throw it over to Stephen K. Bannon.
Simone, it's Miles Guo here. Can you real briefly, like in a minute, describe the film you made that premiered last night that's going to be playing, and then we want to play the trailer real quickly. What do you got here?
Okay, so this movie is called The Cover-Up of the Century. It basically talks about the cover-up by the CCP during the pandemic. So what did they do, why did they do it, how did they do it, and still doing it. The main takeaway of this movie, I think, is this is not some kind of unfortunate event. This is not a natural disaster, but rather a systematic error. It's a history repeating itself. That's the main takeaway.
Let's play the trailer real quickly, Vish, and then we'll come back to Miles for a response.
We'll roll it.
The report indicated there was no cell phone activity in the high-security portion of the Wuhan Institute of Virology. There may have been a, quote, hazardous event.
The earliest and most accurate intelligence came from the Chinese military. They very likely knew about the outbreak and transmissibility sometime in 2019.
In each round, you select viral mutants that can spread faster or cause more severe disease in animal models. This kind of gain-of-function study is so dangerous with unpredictable outcome.
Wow, Steve.
Miles, I got a question. Yeah, I got a question. And Simone is an award-winning journalist. She's done great work. She's been on this show many times. The people at Epic Times and New Tang Dynasty TV do a fantastic job. Now they've got a new film out, an hour film about the cover-up of the century. Here's what I think is Americans can't understand. Why do you think the West, in the United States of America and in Western Europe, why, with all the evidence that's being shown by GTV, G News, Epic Times, New Tang Dynasty TV, why is the West not holding the Chinese Communist Party accountable for this pandemic, all the deaths and all the economic destruction?
Sir, we are on the board a few days. You look at this, the last 2 weeks, New York Times and another big news paper, they want to interview me. I very yelly to them. Everybody asking me about the Falun Gong, about the Epic, give me, ask, where from the money, Falun Gong, where from the money? You supposed the money? I really angry. I said, why you believe, all the believe the Falun Gong and it's the Daji Yuan? You are so stupid. Why you don't give the West of the world the truth? Wall Street, how much money from China? Why is you don't ask all the CCP? Where from the coronavirus? Okay, this is the main cause. Why you don't see this? You only try to believe the weird person. That's all because driven by perfect. Okay, because all the big platform is behind is to take big money from the CCP, save the Vatican. They just driven by perfect. All the talk lie. That's everybody can know the truth. Why you believe Falun Gong is don't give any chance to show you truth. CCP always the philosophy. We make the dirty water, we can get the fish. They want to make the dirty water in the west side of the media. They don't want you get the truth face. Falun Gong give you truth. They don't want you make clean the water. This is the
So you're
truth.
saying the Western media goes after attacking Falun Gong, Epoch Times, New Tang Dynasty, G News, G Media, and are not looking for the real truth that's sitting in front of them. This is the Chinese Communist Party's responsible, not the truth tellers on the outside. And it's time that the American people woke up, the people in Europe woke up, the people in the United Kingdom woke up, and understand their media is basically becoming almost like a propaganda arm of the CCP.
Yes, sir. You look at the Hong Kong movement. Only is the Falun Gong is a reporter. 24 hours. These every minute maybe get to die in Hong Kong street. Fight with the child student. They never talk religion. They never talk politics. They just show you truth. It's life. Where's the New York Times? Where's the FT? Where's the BBC? Where's the CNN? I never see. They just show up. They go to wrong. It's a show camera. Only it's Falun Gong there. Even with the blue movement, we don't do a lot because it's too dangerous. These big bots, they make justice. They try give West the world the truth. But you look at the West side media, they scared Falun Gong. They want to take down Falun Gong. This is the movies, you know, Datang TV, and the Epico, you know, the newspaper, because they talk the truth. They want to try clean the CCP, make dirty the water, show you the truth. That's why you are scared. This white guy, you watch me, this mouse. Do you give the Falun Gong the money? I said, crazy. Why you believe the Falun Gong? Why you don't ask how much money New York Times fund the CCP? How much money CNN fund the CCP? Wall Street, how much money fund the CCP? Why you don't talk Hong Kong the truth? Why you don't ask coronavirus? This is why CCP don't want to go in the investigation. They kill 120,000 people in America. CCP lie, American die. Why you don't follow this? It's crazy, right? I sometimes, you know, where's the world now is by CCP full control. CCP try slogan called revolution. Kill God.
Steve, 90
kill
seconds.
Honest, kill religion. Only believe violate.
Guys, thank you very much. Raheem, back to you in the studio.
Simone, just want to throw it to you with any final words here.
Okay, I think this movie is also about, you know, how we got here. I mean, if it's not because the Western money, the CCP, if the CCP was held accountable from the beginning, all of this wouldn't have happened. So there's really some reflection deal at this time. And also, I think Mao School talked about, you know, the Western media doesn't cover this, and we are the little guy and stuff. But now I think things are changing. This movie has been released like 10 hours ago, and we have already more than over 500,000 views.
Wow, we'll get it up on our site. We'll share it with our newsletter today as well. Simone, thank you so much for joining us.
So beauty, so kind. Don't get anybody believe Falun Gong here. Mr. Gao talk all the Falun Gong. Nobody can believe Falun Gong again. Okay? You too can. You too can.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. Simone, thank you so much. We're going to have you on to talk us through this movie more on another show later on this week. Thanks to Steve Cortes, Kingsley Cortes. Make sure you catch up with them on social media, especially on Parler. We'll be back tomorrow.